There we go. Our guest, he's anonymous, activist on the ground about Venezuela. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know about Venezuela, it's undergone massive change lately. So I wanted to just touch base on that with everybody so that we can ask our guests some questions. So are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm actually walking. I'm in the street right now.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you a little bit about Venezuela because it's been in the news lately. As the people may or may not know it, we get a lot of our oil from Venezuela, and it plays very large in the hemisphere in terms of our relationships with other countries. And of course, it all started back with Mr. Hugo Chavez, who died, and of course he has a new president of Venezuela called Maduro, who continues the policies of Mr. Chavez, which is a lot of socialist policies to help the poor, get a lot of votes, but it's really kind of disintegrated into state-run, sort of poorly managed monopolies, which create scarcity. I know gasoline is very cheap in the city, in the country, and food is very scarce, and there's been awful lots of lines. So we thought we'd reach out to an expert on Venezuela and get some update. So first of all, thank you for joining us, joining our show. Can you give us like an overall, like a short minute or two view, given that the meeting in Panama was last week and the President Maduro and Mr. Obama met, and just give us the context of what's going on in Venezuela?
Yeah, well, last week there was a meeting in Panama where all the heads of states of the Americas met and the Caribbean and all met, and essentially Maduro went there just to continue his rhetoric about the situation and how the United States lead are trying to overthrow his government, which he has no proof of what's going on. But, you know, he uses this tactic to kind of hide what's going on in the country, what has been created due to bad policies implemented by their own government. And that's something that Chavez said, Obama said at the meeting that, you know, it wasn't fair for all these leaders to use the U.S. as a place to, the name of the U.S. to hide their internal problems.
So tell us a little bit about these internal problems. And I think we've got some pictures of food queues and stuff. So tell us about, I know you've been there recently, you speak to people even a couple days ago about shopping in Venezuela. Say I want to buy some cigarettes, some toilet paper, and some beer. Well, what would I do?
Well, it depends on the item that you're looking for. For example, they have a scarcity of toilet paper. They have scarcity of peppers. So if you have a kid, you have to go to the supermarket, and then you have to probably be on the line at 5 in the morning before the shops are open. That's when the queue starts, and then they start taking your identification cards. And
your what card?
Your ID card, to make sure that it belongs to the date that you're allowed to shop.
Okay.
If your card ends with a 9, for example, that means you can only shop on Friday.
So this is everybody, rich people, poor people, everyone who has to go to the supermarket.
Everybody who goes to the supermarket. I'm sure the rich people, they send their maids, if they have, or whoever buy, or they just buy things in the black market. That has become a new industry, not just for getting dollars. What people are doing now is that they're buying things in the supermarket even if they don't need them, because maybe next week or 2 weeks from now they won't have those things anymore, and that it's becoming a trade. Like neighbors are trading a bag of flour for a bag of soap, detergent.
Okay.
Because it's so that the problem has become so out of proportion that they're just buying anything possible, whatever they see on the shelf, because they don't know they're not going to find it the next day.
Okay, let me ask you 2 other questions here, because this is going very quick. One about the currency, because I read an article today that, you know, and when I lived in Venezuela, I was born there, I think it was $1 equaled 1 bolivar, and then it became 2 bolivars, okay? But I read today somewhere that $20 is 5,500 bolivars, so I guess 1 bolivar is like $1 is 500 bolivars. What's happened to the currency there, real quick?
$1 is about 200 bolivares. and it's a black market price. They have like about 4 tiers of exchange rates. One is at 630, one is at 12, one is at 190, and then the black market rate. So you have 4. And the issue is that it's very hard for you to get currency at the first 2 rates, which is 6.3 and 12. That's like for the government officials and the elite that are, sucked into the government.
Got it.
Everybody else has to pretty much go through the black market to get whatever they need. And even if you go to a regular store that is not regulated, everything is priced on the black market rate. But you're not earning the black market. You don't have that power. You don't have the black market power to buy things.
So let me ask you something about, like we're talking about power and food. I also read somewhere that there's maybe only 20 or 30 days left of food in the country,
Yes.
even this poorly distributed food. So aren't we getting close to like a tipping point of craziness?
I think so, because for what it's circulating, Empresas Polar is one of the biggest companies in Venezuela. They're food distributors.
Okay.
And right now, the government is telling them to only sell their products to the state-controlled supermarkets because there's not enough for the whole supply. For the private-run supermarket, there's not enough for the state-controlled supermarkets. There are a lot of staples that it's about 30 to 40 days inventory at this point, like toilet paper, like diapers, like.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. We only have 1 more minute left here. So Cuba used to, as I understand, runs a lot of Venezuela. I think it ran the military, the doctors, they help with the transport systems, all that kind of stuff. And now that America and Cuba are kind of warming up, that even spells more for chaos for Venezuela, doesn't it?
I don't know to what degree. I know the Cubans are running the Venezuela, and Venezuela politicians are all controlled by, the Castro's brothers. But I don't think Cuba will ever let go of Venezuela because they have, even at the current oil prices, Venezuela subsidized all the oil industry. And actually Cuba is able to sell oil from Venezuela very cheap. So they will never let it go of that until, there's an uprising at some point and they get kicked out.
Okay. So I want to what we're going to do is we're going to play this video now, actually. We're going to close the show out with it. I want to thank you very much for all the information you've given to us. I understand that there's so much more. Maybe you can come back another week and give us a little bit more information on travel restrictions, because I just sense this is getting worse sooner than it's getting better.
It's getting very bad. They're putting so many controls on people to travel out of the country as of today. I think they just issued a new decree that you have to seek permission whenever you're going to leave the country, like Cuban style nowadays. I mean, it's something that apparently was implemented today. It's been people are digesting and trying to find out common sense to it. Okay.
Well, listen, thank you so much for dialing in, okay? We appreciate your information. We're going to play a song now called Candelas de Venezuela, or Mi Venezuela. It's a very beautiful song, okay? It's a rapper and talking in Spanish about this whole issue. So y'all listen, take a look, and we're going to probably close the show with that, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see you next week. Remember, if it's Wednesday, it's What Really Matters NYC. Lorraine, you have any questions real quick?
No, let's see the video.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I was so rude I didn't include you for a question. You sure you take a second to ask a question?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this video. Thank you, caller. Thank you, Anonymous.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Venezuela Esta Candela by Mestiza Neblina. You guys enjoy it. Tune it way up, okay? This is a rap about the government and stuff like that. Enjoy it.
Es necesario saber,
take me
sea
off.
hombre o mujer, que mucho de lo que vivimos viene desde el ayer. Es necesario romper con todas esas maldiciones que nos atan sin querer. Este mundo nos comprometió antes de nacer con un pacto antiguo que realizó algún individuo por poder. Hermanos, quiero decir con esto que en todo país donde su fundador realizó un pacto con un dios pagano, vivirá muriendo por salvarnos en un mundo de fornicación, abortos y matarnos. ¿Será que pensamos los seres humanos? Si así seguimos, no seremos gobernados por los Estados Unidos, sino por los reptilianos. Señor presidente, dígame qué se siente, que mi país se ha vuelto el más peligroso del continente. Se supone que en tu casa te sobra el agua caliente, muchos no tienen ni casa y viven abajo de un puente. Baja de la presidencia, por favor dame la mano, camina por las calles normal como un ciudadano. Ve lo que pasamos, porque estamos como estamos. Mi protesta no es por mí, es por el futuro de mi chamo. Veo calles destruidas, muertos por balas perdidas. ¿Qué pasó con Venezuela que usted manda y no la cuida? Nunca hay escasez de alcohol, si hay escasez de comida. Dime, ¿qué pasó con mi patria querida? No creo en la televisión, cierran los canales donde dan la poca información. No seas tú tan huevón porque no cierras donde sale, mostrando sus partes desnudas, Dios a canales. Para mí no hay diferencia entre las clases sociales, ya que aunque tengas más reales y todos somos iguales. Para ser mi presidente, vale, no estás preparado. Como se nota que nadie de tu familia han matado, porque nos matan cubanos disfrazados de soldados. Ya todos saben que tú eres títere de Diosdado. Ahora nadie está de acuerdo con la inflación del dólar, como en un país tan rico para comprarse hace cola. Si hablas bien del gobierno, en todos lados suenan tus rolas. Si hablas la verdad no suena y tienes que pagar payola. No joda, que se jodan, digo lo que me incomoda. Ustedes con todos sus lujos mientras Venezuela llora. No joda, digo lo que me incomoda. Ustedes con todos sus lujos mientras Venezuela llora. Ni capitalismo, ni socialismo. Quiero un presidente que no sea más de lo mismo. Siempre respetaré todos los partidos políticos, más no a quienes quieren dejar mi país en ridículo. Puño arriba por todos los que han caído, los que en las protestas han sobrevivido. Tú no sabes en el peo en el que estás metido. No quiero un país como Cuba, mucho menos gobernado por los Estados Unidos.
Venezuela es la candela donde todo el mundo con hierro se ampara. Venezuela es la candela, corre que el nombre no tiene las balas, corre que el nombre no tiene las balas.
Niños pequeños que se conocen en todos los lugares, bares, burdeles, pero no han ido a centros comerciales. Ya con 15 años son malandros, no hay quien los compare. Bicha en mano, martillo para atrás y que cante que dispare. Son menores que se han unido a la vida del AMPA y han parado muertos porque no saben lo que les espera. Ya con 12 años se rebelan y plomo te zampan, te pican con sangre fría y te meten en la nevera. La política te dice que no está pasando nada y en todos los canales casi siempre hablan del socialismo. Pretenden ocultar todo con mentiras disfrazadas, mientras que afuera morimos a plomo entre nosotros mismos. Te tratan de pegar como te ven sin disciplina.
Te meten psicoterror mientras los nervios te dominan.
Ya tienen el hierro encima, le das todo, te asesina. Se van ganadores, el billete es para la cocaína. Imagina tú lo grave que está el estado. Cada día son más muertos, lo dicen los resultados a lo que hemos llegado. Han provocado la guerra, hasta los guardias nacionales atientan con su propia tierra. Hacen campañas para jodernos, solo la mente nos tapan. Estamos en un infierno, ni el mismo Dios nos rescata. Quieren vendarnos los ojos con ideología insensata, pero todos saben que el gobierno es quien roba la plata. No hay motivo para que le echen plomo a todos los protestantes. Jamelía fue el que dio la orden.